Okay, so I got this, the poker here, and I put the plastic down on the table, and I put the poker where the hole should be. Now what's really important is when you poke through here, it goes in pretty quick, and it'll go through to the table. So a lot of times what I would do is just use a roll of masking tape or something like that, where you put it on top of the masking tape like this, because that way it'll give you an opportunity to push through. Now what you'd like to do is push really hard and push it through, but if you push too far, it'll actually make the hole too big and it'll break the plastic. So as soon as you get this poker through into the masking tape, and you see it's just poking through the other side, that's when you're done. So don't push too hard. It doesn't have to be the gigantic hole, because this little piece of metal is small enough to fit in there. So this is actually where it's going to go. It goes on this piece right here, where I put it through there, and you can see I pushed this one a little too far, but we'll just put that on there for now. There we go. So again, we have our crank. We have our crank that goes in the top hole here. Put that back on the crank. Put it on this one right here. Other one, and the other one like that. And that's how that part goes together. So there's a small stick here, the smallest stick you have. The smallest stick goes in the center hole between these two cranks, or the two metal pieces that you put on. Push it through until it goes all the way back. And you give it about, now you have this here, this piece right here goes on top of here. That's where I cut it. So I'm going to get some scissors and cut that. So it's funny in the instructions too, this little bit is called the Weight Festival, which is pretty cool. So this one now has 3. I kept a little other bit for the back. So I take this Weight Festival and I clip it to this small stick. And then that stops that from pushing back. Now this still comes out over here. I'm sure there's a better way to do it, and maybe I should be doing it differently, but this is how we got it together before. So then I put the last bit that I broke off or cut off, and put that to the other side. That kind of holds the stick from sliding back and forth. So my crank fell off again, which does happen quite a bit. So you take your crank, put it back on, take this part of the crank, slide it through the hole, and then put the other metal part into the other hole. That's pretty much good. Alright, so now we're going to take the sticks and put it on either side. These sticks do like to fall out as well. So you put this stick into this side. Now you can tell the students too that all aerodynamics is about precision. You have to get it pretty much right, pretty much perfect in order to make it fly. So in this case we're going to take it and we're going to spin it upside down. And now we're ready to start putting on the plastic parts, the wings and such. Let's put that there. So that's the skeleton of your bird. Now this part right here is supposed to face up, so the very shiny part, or the very detailed part, faces up. The duller part is on the back. Now I take this and I lay it on top of the wings, and then I take my double-sided tape. There's about, let's see here, there's 5 strips here, but you don't really need all 5 strips, but it's important to hold on to them. So there were 3 strips. See if I can split this strip. So this is 1 strip here. So if I take this strip off, so you got that, so now you're peeling off. So it's double sticky sided. Now on this plastic there is a dotted line and it's really close to the edge. So you're using this to hold down your plastic, so it's flat. And you want this to be on that dotted line. So you line it up right on the dotted line and push it down and try and make it so it doesn't crease it up or anything. And I went a little bit too far this way. That's okay. What I'm going to do now is peel up the other. Actually, you know what? Let's put the other one on. I was going to peel up this side here, but it's probably better if we put the other strip on the other side. Now, when we peel this up, this goes directly on it. So I originally thought you'd fold this over and make like a pocket or like a sleeve. You don't. You actually stick it right directly on the wings. So you take your wings, your skeleton wings, and line them up, pull it tight, make sure they're in there, and push down on the sticky. This is where you definitely need older campers helping younger campers. They can have theirs done first and then they put it on there. But that's the setup right there. And I think I know what this part was supposed to be. Okay, so here you can see my wing is now flat, which is pretty cool. Now there's another one right here. Now you want to keep it flipped over, and you have this stick right here. That's the spine of the bird. So you want to take your strip. Now I also cut them to length, so once I get one off, and you can rip it pretty easily. Make it the length you need it to be, and then rip off the piece you need. That's how it goes right there, right on that line. Stick it down, and that's where it needs to be. It's awesome. All right, so now this goes here, and you do exactly the same thing for the back. So you have your rudder, and it has your spines here, so that you do the same thing. You put it on one side and then the other side, and then stick it on there. There we go. So we have the wedge, and that little wedge will come out quite a bit, so get in there, force as much as you can in there. And then you put that in there. And there is the main ornithopter. Now you take your rubber bands, put your rubber band on one side on the hook, pull it all the way through to the other metal hook there. Now this metal hook will sometimes be too big, like in this case, it's too big and hitting that. So if that's what happens, you can just use a pair of pliers, come in and just kind of squish that hook down a little bit. Oops, just threw that off there. Squeeze it closed, not completely closed, but just flatter. And of course you should do this. Alright, there's one rubber band. And I'm sure there's some theories on keeping the rubber band straight as opposed to slightly bent already. But you have 3 rubber bands on your ornithopter. Now my crank did fall off, which happens quite a bit, but you can see this part stayed on now. Now that it's taped down, that's really good. So I take my crank, put my crank back on, whoop, and then put the other part of my crank over here. You do have to bend it a little bit to get it on there. It's pretty flexible. Get it through the hole. And it's back on. Now there is a little piece that is the nozzle piece that goes right on the top of it, like that. Once it's all done, that holds it in place. And we have a completed ornithopter. Now, there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be things that aren't working, and you have to emphasize the struggle and how anything good that anybody's ever achieved required lots of effort and struggle, also special tools and understanding.